Great evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode here of Transformation Greatness, along with SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. I am your host here, Sean A. White, and I have here a very special guest with us here on episode 352, the one and only Coach Latrea Anita Russ. And guys, this is going to be a brief interview, but I believe it's going to be very impactful. As speakers, we know it's not all about as far as on how long you speak, but the words in which that you speak. So this is going to be pretty cool here, guys. So let's just get the pleasantries out of the way first. For all those that's tuning in, if you're catching us on the live, put in the hashtag live. Let us know exactly where you're tuning in from. And of course, if you're catching us on the replay, go ahead and put in hashtag replay. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. It's very, very cold out here in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm battling like a little slight cold here, but knocking it out with the tea. But at any rate, that's enough about me. Latria, how are you
Yes,
doing now?
I am well. How are you, Mr. White?
I'm doing fantastic, and I see you representing wearing that Barbie out there. Okay, come on now. Yeah, I was gonna say something about that. Come
I
on now, come on now.
knew you was.
I was gonna say something. I wasn't gonna let you
I knew
slide
you
now.
was. I knew you was waiting. I knew you was waiting. I would
Okay.
have changed my shirt, but I just came out of a business boot camp I was in, and yeah. So I would have changed my shirt though, but
It's all good. It's all good. So I know you because we know each other for quite some time, definitely in these social media streets, if you will, us as speakers. Me and you've been a part of some pretty exclusive,
conference and things together.
yeah, summits and different things like that. But I do have individuals that's going to be on here that have no idea on who the heck you are. So maybe for the listener audience, you can just let them know who you are and a little bit as far as what you do.
Okay, well, my name is Coach Latrea Russ. I am referred to as a disabilities empowerment coach. I coach children and their parents on how to navigate through the ups and downs of disability and find their potential and their authentic self despite their disabilities. I work with I work with two different age groups. I work with ages 3 to 5, but in that age group, I tend to work with their parents more. And then I also have another age group in which I work. I work with ages 6 to 10. And in that particular age group, I work more with the children in that age group. We work on self esteem, we work on self worth, we work on bullying, we work on a cluster of different things that they go through on a day to day basis, dealing with their disability, understanding what it means to have a disability, why they have a disability. But most importantly, what we work on is who they are despite their disability. We know the disability is there and we're very much aware of it, but we also want them to understand and focus more on who they are outside of the disability. What is their potential? What are their abilities are outside of the disability? Yeah, okay, you have a disability. Got that. But who else are you? What else can you do? Where else can you go? How else can you excel despite the disability you have? With parents, I'm a parent myself. I have a child who has a disability. She has ADHD and some other things going on in terms of disability. So I work with parents from the perspective of being a parent. I understand what it's like to go through having a child with a disability, having to go down to the school and fight for your child, making sure that your child gets the things that they need, advocating for your child, what that looks like, why is that so important? What else? And then not only that, but the emotional factor that comes along with finding out that your child has a disability. There's an emotional factor connected to that nobody really wants to talk about. Talk about, when you first find out that your child has a disability, there are a array of emotions that go through you, like upset, anger, confusion. There's a lot of different things that go through
Right,
you. How do
right.
you deal with that as a parent? How do you process that as a parent? because as a parent, you're expecting your child to come out one way, and it come out the polar opposite. How do you
Mm.
how do you process that as a parent? So that's just one part of what I do. I'm also a 8-time published author, as well as a speaker.
Wow, wow, wow. You know what? You definitely said a mouthful, and you actually said a lot of great points. In which that, what was the turning point, or what at what point that you said, you know what, you wanted to be an advocate for those that may have a disability? At what point was it like a series of events, or you just
Um,
always knew?
no, it was well, okay. For those that may or may not be able to tell, I am disabled myself. I'm visually impaired and hearing impaired, and I have, I've encountered many different things in the realm of disability. And there's some things that I went through as a kid that I would not want. Hell, there's some things that I'm going through as an adult
Right,
that
right, right.
I would not want any other child to experience.
Okay,
And I want to share my experiences in hopes to help them, in hopes to help them progress through life. Hopes they don't have to go through what I went through. They don't have to go through the depression, the not understanding, the questioning God, the whole gamut of things that people with disabilities go through. Now, of course, you're still going to go through these things because you have a disability. But when you have someone that can walk you through that process, it makes it a little easier, especially somebody who has been there. And I was just telling somebody just a minute ago about coaching. Coaches come a dime a dozen. You can go on any street corner now and find a coach. Okay, they're everywhere. But you want a coach that's going to have not only the knowledge but the experience to back up what they're saying. They're not just telling you what they read. They're
right,
telling you what they know to
correct,
be the truth based on what they experienced, not what they read. Anybody can go get a textbook on disability and read it and know it from front back to cover.
right,
Anybody can do that. But
right,
somebody who knows what it's like to be on the playground as a kid and not have anybody to play with because of the way they look. Somebody who knows what it feels like to be in school during Valentine's Day and not getting the Valentine's Day card because nobody wants to give you a Valentine's Day card because you have a disability.
mm,
Something that you
mm,
can read in a book. That's not something that you can learn in a book. That comes from life experiences.
thousand
So
percent.
that's why I was called. I feel like I was called to do that. I feel like this is why God blessed me with my disability. He blessed me with my disability to be able to help other people navigate through disability.
Wow, 1,000%. You know what I heard too, like through all that, the takeaway which I got from that is being authentic. Because just like you mentioned, hey, nowadays, I mean, you got everybody and their grandma that's calling themselves a coach, right?
Uh-huh,
But there's
uh-huh.
but there's a difference from the textbook aspect versus the life aspect. And I think that of what you was just saying, because you been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, wrote the book, you know how that feels, right? But these are the things in which you have done to overcome that. And so with that, you want to use that gift to go ahead and inspire others. I definitely love that. Definitely love that. I want to ask you this because I know that you're one of our speakers for our first annual Speaker Expo.
Yes, yes.
What can people expect from Coach Latrea during this expo? Just give them a little
Um,
snippet, just a little snippet. They can't get
uh,
the whole buffet, just a little snippet.
well, you can expect to be inspired and motivated. Um, you can expect to be pushed. And I say pushed because a lot of times I feel like my story is to push people to tell their story. when you hear my story, when you hear all the things that I've gone through, the 42 different operations, the in and out the hospitals, the foster care experiences, the parents being on drugs, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. But when
Right.
you hear those things, when you hear those stories, when you hear how I got through those things, I feel like it's going to prompt you to want to tell your story. See, a lot of times people don't really want to tell their story because they're ashamed of their story or they're
Mm,
ashamed of the things that happen to you.
mm,
Yeah. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit just dropped this in my spirit. That's the devil's job. See, the
mm,
devil's job is to keep you ashamed of your story. So the
mm,
more that you are ashamed of it, then the more he can torment you with it. He can keep you up at night with it. He can make you feel bad about it. He can make you ashamed of it. So
mm,
the more the quiet that he can keep you about it, then the more he can torment you with it. But when you decide to get up and tell it to whoever will listen, the devil don't have nothing over your head no more. He can't make you ashamed about something that you're willing to tell. He can't
mm,
make he can't bash you about something that you shared with the world. Like
mm,
for example, I used to always think that, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna make a precursor before I say this. I'm not saying this because I want any type of pity or anything like that. Let me just put that precursor out there. But I used to think that I was the ugliest thing walking and talking. Okay, I used to think that I was so incredibly ugly. All right, and that was the devil's tool. That was his mechanism to keep me in bondage, had me thinking that I was ugly and that nobody would want me. But the minute I stepped up on stage and opened my mouth and proceeded to tell about the things that I dealt with and the things that I went through in terms of bullying, the devil didn't have nothing else over me.
mm,
He couldn't use that anymore. He couldn't use it anymore. So that's what telling your story does.
mm. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to run. I really hate to run. But if you want to see more true authenticity and just such powerful individuals, then by all means, come check out our first annual Speaker Expo, which will be held April 26th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check your local listings. We have about 5 more spots, ladies and gentlemen. So if what Coach Latrea mentioned either motivated or even inspired you to be like, wow, you know what? That took such bravery. You ain't seen nothing yet. And
That's
if you
right.
feel compelled, excuse me, if you have a story or a message and you would like to share that, by all means, I would love to have a conversation with you because again, we have 5 spots left, but I can pretty much promise you in the next week or so, they're going to fill up quick. So first come, first serve. Coach Latria, it's going to be an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to hear more of you on that virtual stage, April 26th. And, you know, we're going to have a lot of fun and we're going to stay connected for sure. For sure,
That's
for
for
sure, for
sure, for
sure.
sure, for sure.
But guys, this is all that we have for you. I thank each and every single last one of you that tuned in to Transformation Greatness and SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. This has been episode 352 with our special guest here, Coach Latrea Russ. Please feel free to go ahead and follow her on all her social media handles. Get in contact with her. This is one very powerful young lady. I'm telling you. And if you think that was good, come to the Speaker Expo. I promise you, it will be well worth it. Until then, family, if what we stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, and may God be the glory, and I can't take any credit for absolutely none of it. Until then, you're
Amen.
all amazing. Thank you so much for your time. We gotta go. Until the next episode, peace and love, family. Later.